Today's headlines. Former President Benigno Aquino III and former Health Secretary Janet Garin may be investigated over the flawed dengue vaccination project. The Manila Police District looks into the death threats against a journalist who testified in the impeachment hearing against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. 14 members of the New People's Army surrender in Agusan del Sur. And Miss Universe 2017 Demi Lee, Nell Peters, and other beauty queens go on a tour around the Philippines. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Former President Benigno Aquino III and former Health Secretary Janet Garin may be investigated over the previous administration's dengue vaccination project. The two may be held liable for implementing the project despite its health risks. Here's our report.
Former President Benigno Aquino III and former Health Secretary Janet Garin are among those who will be included in the National Bureau of Investigation's probe on the 3.5 billion peso dengue vaccine project that has been found to cause health risks to children already injected but without history of the disease. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II on Monday said Aquino will be investigated for giving the go signal to proceed with the project in 2016. Meanwhile, Garin insisted on implementing the project despite objections from medical experts due to lack of certification from the World Health Organization. Aguirre met with Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption founder Dante Jimenez and lawyer Ferdinand Topacio as the group offered to help the government in gathering evidence against those responsible for the fiasco. Jimenez said the VACC received information that 3 grade school pupils who were vaccinated in April 2016 had recently died. The group will write to Education Secretary Leonor Briones to identify those who were given the vaccine for the possible filing of a class suit. The DOH said around 10% of the over 700,000 school children who received the shots at risk to a severe case of the disease, prompting DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III to order the suspension of the dengue vaccination program. The Philippines was the first Asian country to approve the vaccine for individuals aged 9 to 45 in December 2015. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
The Department of National Defense is unlikely to recommend any suspension of military operations or SOMO against the New People's Army this Yuletide season. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana said he cannot recommend a SOMO as the NPA leadership vowed to intensify attacks against military targets. He also said government troops cannot stand down against the rebels despite the tradition of having a SOMO during the holiday season. President Rodrigo Duterte earlier signed Proclamation 360, which terminated peace talks with the Communist Party of the Philippines following the series of rebel attacks and atrocities against military and civilian targets nationwide. The proclamation was signed by the President last November 23. 4 Supreme Court justices will testify in the impeachment proceeding against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. House Justice Committee Chairman Reynaldo Umali said Associate Justices Francis Hardeleza, Noel Tiham, Teresita de Castro, and retired Associate Justice Arturo Brion will attend the December 11 hearing. Umali said Hardeleza will testify on the allegation that Sereno manipulated the selection process of the Judicial and Bar Council to block his appointment. Tiham will testify about the alleged delay of the SC in ordering the transfer of cases of MAUTE members from Cagayan de Oro to Metro Manila. Brion will testify on the allegation that Sereno claimed for herself the sole running of the Supreme Court and the judiciary. De Castro, who already testified last week, will make another appearance. Meanwhile, Umali revealed that records of Sereno's statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth are missing in the Office of the Ombudsman. The committee asked for her SALN to check her claim that she declared properly her earnings of over 30 million pesos in the Piatco case. The Manila Police District is set to investigate the death threat received by Manila Times journalist Jomar Canlas after he testified in the impeachment proceedings against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Canlas said he got 2 identical text messages on December 1, apparently telling him to say his last wishes to his wife and children. He believes the threats may have something to do with his testimony at the House Justice Committee on November 27. Regarding his story about the allegation that SERENO falsified a court resolution in 2013, MPD Director Chief Superintendent Joel Coronel said he might consider giving a security detail to address the threat. Canlas is expected to report the same to the National Bureau of Investigation. Lawyer Larry Gadon, the impeachment complainant, claimed that he received information against Sereno from Canlas, who supposedly got the same from Associate Justice Teresita de Castro. Both denied connections with each other. 9 congressmen from the SOCSKSARGEN expressed alarm over the fake road right-of-way or RROW claims in General Santos and other areas in the region. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre said House Deputy Speaker Ferdinand Hernandez and 8 other lawmakers relayed the information last November 28. The Solons asked DPWH Secretary Mark Villar to temporarily stop the release of RROW claims in the region due to suspicions of irregularities. They added that a syndicate may be involved in the claim scam. Aguirre said the information supports the allegations of whistleblower Roberto Catapang that numerous transactions involving billions of pesos concerning right-of-way claims are possibly tainted with irregularities. Catapang claimed that a syndicate purportedly submitted fake titles to claim compensation from the expropriation of land supposedly occupied by government projects. He implicated Eldon Cruz, brother-in-law of former President Benigno S. Aquino III, as the one who endorsed the release of payments for the supposed bogus RROW claims. Former Budget Secretary Florencio Abad and former DPWH Secretary Rogelio Singson are also among those who are being investigated. President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday urged the other branches of government to follow the lead of the executive and set up their own Freedom of Information or FOI programs. Duterte said the executive branch has made great strides in providing access to relevant information about official action since he institutionalized FOI through Executive Order No. 2. He said opening the records of the legislative and judiciary to the public through FOI would further strengthen the country's democratic institutions. The FOI program was launched on November 25, 2016. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andana reported that 181 national government agencies have submitted FOI manuals, while 69 GOCCs and 26 state universities and colleges also made their submissions. The top agencies with FOI requests were the Philippine Statistics Authority, the Department of Health, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Budget and Management, and the PCOO. The Bureau of Immigration will be adding around 500 immigration personnel to help ease congestion in airports during the Christmas rush. In a joint Senate and House hearing on transport updates, Manila International Airport Authority General Manager Ed Monreal reported that they would add more personnel instead of getting more X-ray machines. Senator Grace Poe, chair of the Senate Committee on Public Services, said that she expected more preparations in place for the Christmas rush. Poe also reported that the Communications, Navigation, Surveillance, Air Traffic Management of the Department of Transportation will not be operational until August 2018. She said the public would need more patience since airports do not have enough equipment to speed up services and facilitate flights. Still to come, a business group warns that the Senate's tax reform package may slow down local businesses. 14 members of the New People's Army surrender in Agusan del Sur. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues. The Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry fears that the Senate version of the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN bill would drag the competitiveness of local businesses. The Senate's version of tax reform will implement additional coal excise tax from 10 pesos per metric ton to 300 in the third and succeeding years. PCCI President George Barcelon said power quality and costs are among those critical elements scrutinized by foreign and local investors. He explained that many investors have left due to high and unpredictable power costs and policies. Data from the Department of Energy showed that coal-fired power plants accounted for 44% of power generation in 2015. The PCCI chief also noted that the Philippines is already poorly situated in terms of power cost competitiveness and that preventing the increase in power costs should be a priority. The Senate approved on third and final reading its version of TRAIN bill last week. Rice production was raised from July to September this year as the harvest area for palay nationwide increased further. The Philippine Statistics Authority said this year's palay harvest area rose to over 852,000 hectares or more than 14% from last year. Increases in harvest area across regions were brought by sufficient water supply and government interventions, such as high-yielding varieties, seeds, and fertilizer during the cropping period. The increase helped the country realize a 14% growth in palay production from July to September, when output hit almost 3.4 million metric tons. Philippine palay production volume was lower in 2016 and 2015. 14 members of the New People's Army surrendered to the Army's 26th Infantry Battalion in Talacogon, Agusan del Sur. The members brought along with them 16 firearms of different calibers. The setbacks suffered by rebels with the recent armed encounters against government forces and the successful implementations of community support program have caused members to surrender. Lieutenant Colonel Romel Pagayon, 26 IB commanding officer, said they are committed to prevent more atrocities by the NPA. Colonel Andres Centino, Army's 401st Brigade Commander, called on the remaining members of the NPA to surrender to the government and live peacefully. About 165 drug surrenderers graduated from their 10-month rehabilitation in Bugyas Municipality in Benguet. Dr. Hilda Kimakim, Municipal Health Officer, said that twice a week for 6 months, the enrollees reported and underwent a psychological psychiatric assessment. They participated in group works, team-building activities, and mostly reflections that made the enrollees realize the importance of not engaging in illegal drugs. She said they also did needs assessments on the enrollees to find out what assistance they need or want to help them after they complete the rehabilitation. The doctor said they extended the program up to 10 months to allow other enrollees to complete the whole program. Bugyas is the center development in northern Benguet, being the primary source of most highland vegetables for the country. Delegates attending a week-long ASEAN Forum on Climate Change have arrived safely in LAOAG, Ilocos Norte. A total of 200 delegates were expected to attend the meetings that officially started Tuesday, December 5. Mark Anthony Sabado, Sub-Task Group Emergency Preparedness Response Commander, said an aerial survey was conducted to check on any potential threats or hazards. An ocular inspection was also conducted in areas of engagement. Members of the Regional Management Incident Team and other commanders met with Ilocos Norte Governor Amy Marcos at the provincial capital for a courtesy call meeting on Monday afternoon. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources and Ecosystems Research and Development Bureau is hosting the ASEAN Forum until December 8. Participants will discuss and exchange information, coping mechanisms, and adaptation strategies on the impacts of climate change and urbanization in the ASEAN region. Up next, runner Mary Joy Tabal scores her 5th consecutive win in the national finals of the MILO Marathon. Miss Universe 2017 Demi Lee Nell Peters and other beauty queens go on a tour around the Philippines. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns. Mary Joy TABAL scored her 5th consecutive win in the national finals of the MILO Marathon in Cebu City on Sunday, becoming the first Filipino woman to do so. TABAL, who finished the Rio Olympics marathon last year, clocked in at 2 hours, 58 minutes and 1 second, edging second placer Cristabel Martes and third placer Joanne Villarma among the other local female racers. TABAL also finished third in the open category. Two Kenyans, Elizabeth Rumokol and Nancy Rotich, went 1 and 2 respectively in the Women's Open. Meanwhile, George Andrade dethroned Jason Agravante as the men's champion. Andrade became the fastest Filipino to finish the 42-kilometer course in 2 hours, 39 minutes and 34 seconds. Agravante failed to even land the spot in the top 10 as Eric Panique finished second. Eduardo Buenavista entered the finish line third. Kenyans topped the open division as Eric Chepsiror, James Talam, and Josephat Chobe placed first, second, and third respectively. Stefan SCHROCK scored the game-winning goal as Ceres Negros trounced Kaya Makati in Game 1 of their PFL Final Series showdown at the University of Makati Athletic Oval on Sunday. The midfielder dazzled through the Makati defense and rifled in a goal from the left side of the penalty box, which ref Quaresma could not stop in the second minute of stoppage time. Negros won 1-0. The goal did not just give Negros the win, but also a vital away goal that will be of a huge boost come the second leg at the Panaad Stadium in Bacolod on Saturday night. Miss Universe 2017 Demi Lee Nell Peters and other candidates are visiting Manila and other parts of the Philippines this week. Nell Peters and the candidates are also joined by Miss Universe 2016 Iris Mitener. Tourism Secretary Juan de Teo said the Miss Universe organization requested the agency to let the ladies tour around the country starting today, December 5. Teo said the DOT agreed to host the beauty titleists from select countries that the department identified as key and emerging markets in tourism. The ladies will join a tour in Manila on December 6, a charity ball and the DOT Christmas party on December 7, a tour by group in Batanes, Bohol, and Camiguin on December 8, and a gala night on December 9. Teo, meanwhile, said the Miss Universe organization has expressed intention to hold the Miss Universe pageant again next year in the Philippines. Baguio City started its Christmas celebration with a bang as residents launched art shows and street parades to usher in the holiday spirit. Here's our report.
It was a colorful and fun day in Baguio City as Christmas formally opened last Friday, December 1. The Christmas Mardi Gras, now in its 44th year, is organized by the City's Social Welfare and Development Office and spearheaded by veteran newsman and former City Councilor Narciso Padilla. About 5,000 daycare children in their Christmas-inspired costumes crowded the Central Business District in the morning. Session Road was closed down to give way to various activities like concerts and plays. A giant art installation by thematic artist Mela Liwanag Jose at Upper Session Road was also inaugurated. It was followed by the ceremonial lighting of the giant Christmas tree at the Rose Garden in Burnham Park. It was followed by a 10-minute fireworks display. The crowd-drawing lantern parade of St. Louis University capped the day's festivity. Dr. Andrew Macalma, Dean of Students Affairs of SLU, said the Lantern Parade, which is now in its 9th year, is the academic institution's contribution and commitment to the city. The lanterns depicted the theme, One Heart, One Mission, the CICM journey, which traces back the roots of the Congregation of the Immaculate Heart of Mary in the Philippines. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
President Rodrigo Duterte has declared the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, a terror group. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Duterte signed a proclamation declaring the CPP-NPA as a terrorist organization under the Human Security Act. The president earlier said he considered the rebels as criminals after the death of a 4-month-old baby and 2 others in a November 9 ambush in Bukidnon. Duterte suspended the 5th round of peace talks with communist rebels after an increase in offensives throughout the country. Duterte also threatened to go on a strong offensive against militant groups. Under the Human Security Act of 2007, a person found guilty of terrorism should be sentenced to jail for 40 years without parole. Terrorism under the law includes rebellion, insurrection, murder, and arson, among others. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Ben Tishorno.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's headlines. Former President Benigno Aquino III and former Health Secretary Janet Garin may be investigated over the flawed dengue vaccination project. The Manila Police District looks into the death threats against a journalist who testified in the impeachment hearing against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. 14 members of the New People's Army surrender in Agusan del Sur. And Miss Universe 2017 Demi Lee Nell Peters and other beauty queens go on a tour around the Philippines. The holidays are coming soon. It's 20 days before Christmas. For more stories, please log on to www.pna.gov.ph or visit the PNA page on Facebook and Twitter. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.